Each year, over 3.3 million tons of haddock are harvested from the cold waters of the North Atlantic. That's enough to produce more than 25 billion fillets, a quantity that feeds school canteens, fast food chains, and supermarket shelves from Boston to Berlin. Yet few people ever see the system that makes this volume possible. Behind every fillet is a tightly controlled chain of fishing vessels, freezing equipment, insulated containers, and cross-border logistics. Haddock is a saltwaters fish, part of the cod family, found mostly in subarctic waters. It prefers temperatures between 4 and 10 degrees Celsius and lives close to the seafloor, feeding on smaller fish and crustaceans. Its meat is mild, white, and lean, ideal for frying, smoking, or turning into frozen portions. But it's also delicate. Once caught, it begins to break down quickly, unless cooled to near-zero temperatures within hours. Every minute counts. To move haddock across continents without losing quality, the process must be exact. From trawlers equipped with ice-filled storage tanks to processing plants running 24 hours a day, each step is designed to preserve freshness, prevent bruising, and meet the standards of international markets. A small lapse in temperature or handling can turn a valuable export into waste. The fish may be caught in Icelandic waters, processed in Norway, and repackaged in China before ending up in a grocery store in the United States. In many cases, this entire sequence takes less than a month, and yet the fillet still arrives, firm, pale, and ready to cook. That level of consistency isn't the result of chance. It's the result of carefully engineered routines, measured tolerances, and equipment designed to function in harsh conditions. Understanding how 3.3 million tons of a perishable fish are handled, processed, and sold each year means looking closely at every stage, from the boats that harvest it, to the plants that clean and cut it, to the containers that keep it cold across thousands of miles. What seems simple on the plate is, in fact, the result of industrial coordination on a global scale. Haddock thrives in cold, clean waters, specifically those of the North Atlantic Ocean, stretching from the coasts of northern Norway and Iceland to the eastern shores of Canada. These waters sit between 45 and 70 degrees north, where strong ocean currents stir up nutrients from the seafloor, feeding the small fish and invertebrates that haddock depend on. The species is most commonly found at depths of 40 to 300 meters, gliding just above gravelly or sandy seabeds, where it feeds quietly and steadily throughout the year. The top 5 producers of haddock today, Norway, Iceland, Russia, the United Kingdom, and Canada, have built large-scale infrastructure to manage the catch, processing, and export of this resource. Ports like Reykjavik, Murmansk, and Lerwick have become critical hubs for seafood logistics. Each has deep water access, year-round cold storage, and direct links to processing facilities within minutes of the dock. In these places, haddock is not just a fish, it's a commodity, regulated, traded, and moved by the ton. Historically, haddock has been part of the Northern European diet for centuries. In medieval England and Scotland, it was preserved by air drying or cold smoking, allowing it to be stored through the winter months. On Norwegian coasts, it was commonly salted and packed into wooden barrels, shipped by sail to German and Dutch markets. Before refrigeration, this preservation was essential. Today, cold chain logistics have replaced salting and smoking as the dominant methods of extending shelf life. But the demand remains strong, especially in countries where fried whitefish is a staple. Since the late 20th century, fishing practices have shifted from small coastal boats to industrial trawlers. Advances in sonar, satellite mapping, and weather prediction have allowed vessels to locate haddock shoals more quickly and operate more safely in rough conditions. This shift has increased yields, but also placed new pressure on haddock stocks, prompting strict catch limits, area closures, and quota systems monitored by international councils. Haddock's popularity today is not accidental. Its fillets are uniform in size, easy to portion, and respond well to freezing without losing their structure. Unlike cod, which flakes more easily, or pollock, which has a softer texture, haddock offers a consistent product with a slightly sweet flavor and a firm bite. These characteristics have made it a preferred choice for breaded portions, frozen dinners, and fast food menus, particularly in the United Kingdom and North America. By understanding where haddock lives and how it's been used over time, we begin to see the larger picture. Why specific countries dominate the market, why processing plants are located where they are, and why haddock remains a dependable product in a global seafood industry defined by fluctuation and regulation. In the Northern Atlantic, haddock is primarily caught using bottom trawling, a method where a wide, heavy net is dragged along the seafloor to target demersal species. The net's mouth is held open by large steel doors, while weighted foot ropes keep it in contact with the seabed. Each sweep may last 2 to 5 hours, depending on depth, weather, and stock density. It's a high-volume method designed for efficiency, but also one that requires tight regulation to prevent habitat damage and overfishing. A modern trawler can harvest up to 150 tons of fish per trip, depending on its size and allowable quota. These vessels often operate in pairs, a technique known as pair trawling, which increases the spread of the net and reduces drag. On board, the fish are sorted by species and size on stainless steel grading tables. Haddock are separated from bycatch, such as whiting, pollock, and flatfish, using automated belts and trained crews working under fluorescent lights in chilled processing bays. To preserve freshness, the fish are immediately moved to refrigerated seawater tanks where temperatures are held between -0 and 2 degrees Celsius. Some trawlers use ice slurry systems, combining seawater and crushed ice to chill the catch uniformly. This step is critical. Haddock begins to degrade within hours if left in warm or poorly aerated conditions. By lowering the internal temperature quickly, processors extend the window before spoilage begins and ensure higher quality fillets downstream. Every movement on board is timed and repetitive. The winch hauls up the net, the cod end is opened, fish slide down the sorting chute, knives are sharpened, scales are checked. Even in rough seas, the work continues, around the clock, in 6 to 8 hour shifts. A skilled worker can gut and clean more than 1,000 fish in a single shift, using movements honed by years of practice. Efficiency matters, not just to meet demand, but to meet the quota set by regional fishery councils and international agreements. In Norwegian and Icelandic waters, electronic logbooks and satellite vessel monitoring systems are mandatory. These tools track each hauls location, depth, and volume, feeding into national databases used to manage fish stocks and prevent overfishing. If a trawler enters a closed zone or exceeds its quota, authorities can issue fines or suspend licenses. This regulatory framework is strict, but essential for maintaining long-term access to key markets, especially in the European Union and North America, where traceability is now a requirement for most imports. The entire harvesting phase is built around speed, consistency, and temperature control. From the moment the net hits the water to the moment the hold is filled, each hour is calculated to minimize waste, maximize quality, and comply with standards. In practical terms, that means a haddock caught 200 kilometers offshore can be gutted, chilled, and docked for processing within 36 hours, ready for the next phase of its movement through the global seafood system. Once the vessel returns to port, often in less than 2 days, the haddock is offloaded rapidly. Conveyors carry the chilled fish into processing halls, where crews begin the first transformation steps. Here, speed and hygiene are everything. Within hours, each fish is headed, gutted, and filleted on stainless steel lines kept near 01 Dercy. High-speed blade systems cut with precision, producing uniform fillets ideal for export. Skinning machines follow, removing the dark outer layer without damaging the flesh beneath. In larger facilities, this entire operation runs 24 hours a day, with capacity to handle over 200 tons per shift. Once filleted, the haddock is flash frozen at 30 degrees, locking in moisture and texture. Every box is labeled with harvest date, catch zone, and lot number, part of the traceability system required by international buyers. Within a single working day, the haddock moves from boat to freezer, prepped for shipment across continents. Preserving haddock for export depends on maintaining a stable, ultra-cold environment from dock to destination. After flash freezing, the fillets are stored in blast freezers set to 40 degrees Celsius, where cold air circulates at high velocity to reduce core temperature quickly. Once frozen solid, the product is transferred to reefer containers, insulated units, equipped with refrigeration system that hold a steady 25 degrees Celsius during transit. Each container is fitted with temperature sensors and GPS tracking, allowing logistics teams to monitor conditions in real time. A single lapse above 18 degrees C can compromise texture and reduce shelf life. Inside the reefer, cartons are stacked with space for airflow, wrapped in moisture-resistant liners to prevent freezer burn. This cold chain continues through ports, distribution centers, and inland transport. From catch to final delivery, the haddock is never allowed to thaw, ensuring it arrives at market with the same firmness and quality as the day it was packed. Once packed into reefer containers, the frozen haddock begins its international movement. Most shipments leave from ports like Ålesund, Murmansk, or Reykjavik, bound for terminals in Rotterdam, Qingdao, or Boston. A single vessel may carry up to 12,000 tons of frozen seafood, stacked in hundreds of sealed units. Every container must pass health inspection and customs clearance, with documentation verifying species, catch zone, and temperature compliance. Delays are costly, both in logistics fees and product quality. Transit times vary: 5 days to the UK, 12 days to North America, and up to 30 days to East Asia. Throughout the journey, temperature logs are reviewed at checkpoints to ensure no deviation from the 25 degrees C standard. Some shipments are inspected mid-transit for signs of thawing, water accumulation, or odor, signals of potential spoilage. Even in winter storms or port backlogs, the system is designed to preserve product integrity from ocean dock to urban distribution center. In major import hubs like Qingdao, Gdansk, or Ho Chi Minh City, frozen haddock is unloaded and transferred to specialized factories for final processing. Here, the fillets are defrosted under controlled conditions, trimmed, deboned, and shaped into products tailored to local markets. This can include breaded portions, frozen fish sticks, or loins cut to exact gram weights. High-speed machinery performs most of the cutting, but human workers often handle inspection and portioning. Skinning, battering, and par-frying lines operate with strict temperature and timing controls, ensuring product uniformity. Once processed, the haddock is flash frozen again and vacuum packed in retail-ready formats. These plants often serve multiple brands and countries, producing private label products for global supermarkets. Labels are printed in up to 5 languages, each box coded with traceability data, linking back to the vessel, date of catch, and origin plant, preserving transparency across borders. The global haddock trade moves billions of dollars each year. Wholesale prices range from $2.50 to $4 per pound, depending on cut, grade, and processing stage. In total, the annual export value of haddock exceeds $7.4 billion, driven by steady demand in North America, the United Kingdom, and Western Europe. The UK alone imports over 90,000 tons annually, much of it destined for the fish and chip industry. Major buyers include retail chains like Tesco, Aldi, and Costco, as well as institutional food service suppliers. Processed haddock products are often bundled with cod and pollock to offer consistent pricing across different markets. Exporting countries benefit not just from raw fish sales, but also from secondary processing revenue and trade partnerships. Pricing is sensitive to fuel costs, fishing quotas, and seasonal fluctuations in stock availability. Yet even with these variables, haddock remains one of the most stable and predictable species in the frozen whitefish category. Managing haddock stocks requires strict oversight. After population declines in the 1990s, regional councils introduced catch limits, seasonal closures, and gear restrictions to prevent overfishing. Today, vessels are tracked by satellite monitoring, and every haul is logged digitally. Many exports carry the MSC certification, indicating adherence to sustainable practices. Some processors now use blockchain systems to trace each fillet back to its origin. Still, risks remain, especially from illegal fishing and quota misreporting. Climate shifts are also changing haddock migration patterns, pushing stocks further north. Sustainability now depends on balancing volume with long-term ecological stability. A single haddock may be caught off Iceland, filleted in Norway, breaded in Vietnam, and served in a diner in Ohio, all in less than 30 days. Its journey spans thousands of kilometers, multiple freezing cycles, and at least 3 layers of processing. Yet on the plate, it remains simple, white, flaky, mild. Beneath that simplicity is a precise system of harvest, logistics, and engineering built to deliver freshness at industrial scale.